Ethan Cole never liked working the night shift on the orbital research platform Helios. The long corridors were silent, and the stars outside the viewing windows looked like a million cold eyes watching him work. But as one of the youngest human engineers assigned to the Galactic Union's most advanced station, he didn't have much choice. The Helios was a masterpiece of technology, home to alien scientists, soldiers, and diplomats. Humans were the newcomers to the Union, but their problem-solving nature made them valuable. Ethan's specialty was teleportation relay systems, the technology that allowed beings to travel across ships, stations, and even planets in the blink of an eye. Most days were simple. He ran diagnostics, fixed power circuits, and made sure no one's atoms ended up scrambled in the process. But on this night, something unexpected was about to happen. Ethan leaned over the control console, tapping at the screen as a soft hum filled the chamber. The teleportation relay test was beginning. The Union wanted to ensure that Alari warriors, famous for their combat teleport strikes, could integrate smoothly with human systems. The Alari were a proud alien race with tall frames, sharp features, and glowing markings along their skin that shifted colors depending on emotion. They were fast, disciplined, and carried themselves like walking blades. Ethan had seen a few of them on the station, but he had never spoken directly to one. That changed in the next moment. The teleportation relay flared. A burst of light filled the chamber, and with a sharp whoomp, a figure materialized directly above him. Before Ethan could react, the weight slammed into his shoulders, knocking him flat onto the polished floor. "Ow!" Ethan groaned, pinned down. On top of him lay a tall, armored alien woman. Her glowing blue markings flashed in confusion as she scrambled to her feet. She looked down at him with narrowed eyes, clearly just as startled. "You, human," she said in a sharp but melodic voice. "Why are you beneath me?" Ethan coughed, sitting up slowly. "I didn't plan this, believe me." The control panel was still buzzing with red warnings. Something had gone wrong. But before he could check it, the alien woman folded her arms and stared at him. "I am Lyra of the Aelari, warrior class. My teleport was meant to place me in the training zone, not on top of you." Ethan dusted himself off, trying to ignore the crew members nearby who were laughing quietly. "Well, Lyra, I didn't exactly invite you. The system must have miscalibrated." Lyra's glowing lines turned a faint red, the Aelari color of embarrassment. She stepped back quickly, straightening her posture. "Then fix your system. I do not land on humans, ever." Ethan gave her a lopsided smile. "Hey, don't blame me. I just work here." The incident might have ended there, but fate, or something stranger, wasn't finished. 2 hours later, Ethan was back at the console, recalibrating the teleport node. He rerouted power, adjusted the frequency alignment, and double-checked the safety locks. When the Union supervisor ordered a second test, Ethan braced himself. The chamber glowed once more. The teleport relay sparked to life. And then, whoomp, Ethan fell flat again as the same armored figure landed squarely on his back. "You have got to be kidding me." Ethan groaned. Lyra rolled off him quickly, her face shifting between shock and anger. "Impossible. This is a secured relay. Why am I here again?" The technicians in the chamber burst out laughing. A few even clapped. Ethan, red-faced, waved them off and pulled himself up. "Okay," he muttered, rubbing his ribs. "That's not supposed to happen twice." Lyra's markings burned brighter now, showing frustration. She glared at Ethan like he had done it, on purpose. "Human, if this is some kind of trick, I will—" Whoa, Ethan said, raising his hands. "Trust me, I don't enjoy getting flattened. Something's wrong with the system. And for some reason it keeps, well, putting you right on top of me." Lyra's sharp gaze studied him, her glowing eyes narrowing. She wasn't sure if she should be insulted or worried. Ethan ran more diagnostics, but the data only deepened the mystery. The system was working perfectly for everyone else. Teleports went where they were supposed to. No errors, no glitches. Only Lyra, and only when he was nearby, seemed to trigger the anomaly. The Union scientists scratched their heads. The Alari commanders were annoyed. Lyra was mortified. And Ethan, well, he just wished his co-workers would stop teasing him about his new shadow. By the end of the week, Lyra had teleported onto him 3 more times, once in the lab, once in the mess hall, and once humiliatingly during a staff meeting. Every time, Ethan was left groaning on the floor while Lyra scrambled up, furious and embarrassed. "I swear I'm not doing this," Ethan shouted the third time as the laughter of humans and aliens echoed in the meeting chamber. Lyra's markings burned red again as she snapped, "Then explain why my path always finds you." Ethan could only shrug helplessly. Guess the universe has a sense of humor. But beneath the humor, Ethan was worried. Teleportation wasn't supposed to behave like this. It wasn't random chance. Something in the system was deliberately or mysteriously anchoring Lyra's teleport signal to him. Late at night, he stayed in the control chamber, running data scans. He compared her teleport signature with his own neural pattern, and what he found sent chills down his spine. Her teleport frequency wasn't random. It was locked onto his biofield. In other words, whenever Lyra activated her teleportation, the system treated Ethan as the destination point, not the room, not the coordinates. Him. Ethan leaned back in his chair, staring at the glowing lines of code. "Great," he muttered. "I'm a walking landing pad." The next day, he tried explaining this to Lyra. She stood in the chamber, arms crossed, eyes sharp with disbelief. "You are telling me," she said slowly, "that your body has become my anchor point?" Ethan nodded. "Exactly. Think of it like a magnet. Every time you teleport, you're pulled to me." Lyra tilted her head, her glowing patterns shifting into thoughtful green. "Such a thing is unheard of. Teleportation locks to coordinates, not to living beings." "Well," Ethan said, "welcome to humanity's talent for breaking the rules." She didn't laugh. Instead, she looked at him with an expression he couldn't quite read, part irritation, part curiosity, maybe even a touch of concern. "This bond is not acceptable," she said firmly. "I am a warrior. I cannot fight if I risk landing on you every time." Ethan scratched the back of his neck. "Yeah, I'd prefer not being crushed either. But until we figure it out, looks like we're stuck with each other." That night, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about the strange bond. Was it just an accident? A quirk of human biology? Or something deeper? Lyra, in her quarters, paced restlessly. To her people, this was humiliation. To rely on a human as an anchor, it went against everything she had been trained for. And yet, each time she landed on him, she noticed something strange. She had never been injured, never disoriented. It was almost as if the universe itself ensured she arrived safely when he was near. She clenched her fists, her glowing markings flickering softly in the dim light. "Why him?" she whispered to herself. "Why a human?" The next morning, Ethan awoke to a call from the station commander. Another test, another teleport. Another chance for Lyra to end up crashing into him again. He sighed, pulling on his uniform. "Let's see if we can get through one test without me becoming a floor mat." But deep down, he knew. This was only the beginning. Because every time she teleported, she didn't just land on him physically. The strange bond between them grew stronger, and Ethan had the uneasy feeling that the galaxy was about to take notice. The following morning, Ethan arrived at the teleportation chamber before most of the crew. The humming lights of the station glinted off the metal floors, and the distant stars outside the windows sparkled like frozen diamonds. He rubbed his eyes, already dreading the moment Lyra would teleport again. As if on cue, a bright flash appeared beside him. Whoomp! Ethan hit the floor hard as Lyra landed squarely on his back. "Seriously?" he groaned. "Do you have to do this every single day?" Lyra scrambled off, brushing dust from her armor. Her markings flickered a faint purple, showing her embarrassment. "Human, I do not wish to land on you. This is unacceptable." Ethan helped himself up and muttered under his breath. "Yeah, I'm starting to feel like a very unlucky landing pad." The Union technicians were already observing from the control booth. Dr. Sela, a tall alien scientist with violet skin, adjusted her goggles. "This is remarkable," she said, her voice full of curiosity. "The teleportation field is locking onto him specifically. It's almost like a resonance with his neural patterns." Ethan frowned. "My neural patterns? What does that even mean?" Dr. Sela motioned for him to come closer. "Your brain activity is unusual. The Aolari teleportation system is designed to anchor to coordinates, but your human mind seems to act as a fixed point in space. Lyra's teleportation lock treats you as the target, not a location." Ethan blinked. "So you're saying I'm like a human magnet?" "Exactly," Dr. Sela said with a hint of excitement. "Your presence stabilizes her teleportation, even across large distances. This is unprecedented." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Stabilizes me? Are you saying I am forced to land on this human?" "Yes," Dr. Sela said gently. "It's not intentional, but the system sees him as your anchor. You two are quantumly linked." Ethan groaned. "Great. So I'm stuck being her anchor pad. Fabulous." Lyra's expression shifted from anger to curiosity. "A link between a human and an Aolari," she muttered. Her glowing markings pulsed slowly, almost as if she were thinking deeply. "This could be advantageous in battle, or disastrous. I need to test it." "What kind of test?" Ethan asked cautiously. "The teleportation system," she said, crossing her arms. "If this link is real, we may be able to predict and control it, perhaps even turn it into a tactical advantage." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "So, instead of crashing into me constantly, we could actually make it useful?" Lyra tilted her head, glowing lines flickering in shades of green. "Potentially, but first we must understand it." The first experiment was simple. Lyra stood at one end of the chamber while Ethan activated the teleportation console. The goal was to see if she could teleport to a distant point in the station without landing on him. Bright lights flared. The room hummed with energy. And then, whoomp! Lyra landed perfectly on Ethan again. He groaned, struggling under her weight. "Well, at least it's consistent now." Lyra jumped to her feet, brushing her armor and glaring at him. "I cannot escape this human. Why am I bound to him?" Ethan shrugged helplessly. "I told you, I think the universe just likes messing with me." Dr. Sela stepped forward, examining the monitors. "This is not just a coincidence. Ethan's neural patterns are acting as a guide for her teleportation. His unique brainwaves may be creating a resonance field that attracts her." Lyra's glowing patterns flickered faster. "A resonance field? With a human? How strange. How useful," Ethan muttered under his breath. "Useful for who? Me? Because all I feel is crushed." For the next few hours, Ethan and Lyra worked together under Dr. Sela's guidance. She measured the teleportation field, noted Lyra's arrival points, and charted the anchor patterns. Slowly, the connection became clearer. Whenever Ethan moved, Lyra's teleportation adjusted automatically to land directly on him. The faster he moved, the more her path shifted to match. "It's like we're dancing," Ethan said wryly, dodging another landing attempt in the lab. "But I think I'm losing." Lyra's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Perhaps your human reflexes are interesting." Despite the awkwardness, Ethan began to notice something unexpected. Each time Lyra landed on him, her energy left a faint trace in the room, a warmth that lingered, not threatening, just present. It was subtle, but he felt it even when she wasn't nearby. He shook his head. "I am overthinking this. Definitely overthinking." Hours turned into days. The repeated teleportation tests became routine. Lyra tried to resist, but no matter the distance or direction, the system pulled her straight to him. At first, both were frustrated. Lyra's pride as a warrior suffered, and Ethan's ribs protested every sudden landing. But slowly, a strange rhythm developed. Ethan learned how to brace himself for the impact. Lyra learned to control her body mid-teleport, minimizing the awkward crashes. Their teamwork, though accidental, became smoother with each trial. One evening, as they worked alone in the chamber, a sudden power fluctuation caused the lights to flicker. Without thinking, Lyra activated her teleport to avoid a sudden energy surge. She expected to land on the floor. Instead, whoomp, she landed right on top of Ethan again. This time, Ethan didn't groan. He held her steady, looking into her glowing eyes. "You saved me," he realized. "That energy surge would have knocked me out." Lyra's markings pulsed a calm green. "It appears this link is not entirely inconvenient. It ensures survival when I am near you." Ethan blinked. "So, the universe is keeping me alive by making you land on me?" Lyra's lips curved slightly. "Perhaps. Or it is fate." The concept of fate was new to Ethan. He had always been practical, logical, and focused on science. But the more he observed the teleportation link, the less he could explain it with logic alone. That night, he walked through the station corridors, trying to understand it. Every time he thought about Lyra's sudden arrivals, he felt a strange anticipation. Not fear, not annoyance, something else. Something he had never experienced. Meanwhile, Lyra returned to her quarters, pacing slowly. Her mind was equally restless. To her people, dependence on a human was dishonorable. But she couldn't deny the feeling of security, of stability, that Ethan provided. The bond, though strange and unwanted, was comforting. "I will not admit this to anyone," she muttered to herself. "But his presence, it is different." The next day, the station commander summoned Ethan and Lyra for a demonstration. The Galactic Union had received intelligence of potential attacks on relay stations by the Draxian Collective, a rival alien faction. They needed to see if this human-Alari link could be used strategically. "Show us how it works," the commander said. "If the human's presence anchors the Ilari, it could be a powerful defense mechanism." Ethan swallowed nervously. "We'll try." Lyra stepped onto the teleport pad, her body tense but controlled. Ethan activated the console. A flash of light filled the chamber. She disappeared, and then landed perfectly on him again. The room erupted in surprised applause. "Incredible," Dr. Sela said. "The link is stable even under stress conditions." Lyra's markings glowed faintly in acknowledgement. She turned to Ethan. "It seems this human is not useless after all." Ethan groaned, rubbing his side. "I'm thrilled, really. Just thrilled." By the end of the demonstration, the commander nodded approvingly. "This link could change the way we think about teleportation. Humans, perhaps your species is uniquely suited for anchoring quantum fields." Ethan blinked. "You're saying humans are special?" "Indeed," the commander replied. "It is a strength that the galaxy has yet to fully understand." Lyra's gaze softened slightly. For the first time, she didn't glare at him or act annoyed. "It seems your species has unexpected potential. Perhaps we are stronger together than I thought." Ethan felt a strange warmth at her words. "Yeah, maybe." As they returned to the dormitory, the bond remained unspoken but understood. Every time Lyra teleported, it wasn't just a strange accident anymore. It was a connection, one that neither fully understood but both could feel growing stronger. Ethan sighed as he prepared for the evening. "Great," he muttered. "I survived the day. Again." Lyra appeared suddenly in the room, her teleport landing precise but gentle this time. "Do not get too comfortable, human," she said with a small smile. "I am still a warrior." Ethan chuckled. Yeah, I know, but at least you didn't crush me this time." Her glowing lines pulsed, a soft blue. "Progress, we will continue to test the link, and perhaps, someday, it may become our greatest strength." Ethan nodded, staring out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, but for the first time, he realized that the strange bond he shared with Lyra was not just a problem. It might be the beginning of something extraordinary. The orbital research platform. Helios drifted silently in orbit around the gas giant Eridon. Its lights sparkled against the dark void of space, a tiny beacon of civilization in the emptiness. To most crew members, it was just another day of routine, maintenance, and endless tests. To Ethan Cole, however, it was anything but routine. The strange bond between him and Lyra had grown stronger. Every time she teleported, the system anchored her directly to him. At first, it had been awkward and even dangerous, but now they had developed a rhythm. Ethan could brace himself for her arrival, and Lyra could land with precision, minimizing accidents. But the universe, as it often did, had other plans. It started with the alarms. A low, piercing siren echoed through the station corridors. Red lights flashed as the intercom crackled to life. "Attention all personnel. Intruders detected in Sector 4. Repeat, intruders in Sector 4. Ethan's stomach tightened. Sector 4 housed the station's experimental teleportation nodes, the very heart of their research. If the attackers got there, they could steal technology capable of changing the balance of power across the galaxy. Lyra appeared beside him in an instant, teleporting from her quarters. "Whoomp," Ethan groaned as she landed squarely on his back. "Really? Now?" he muttered, rubbing his ribs. Lyra straightened, her markings flashing a bright battle red. "Do not complain, human. These intruders will regret facing an Alari warrior." Ethan blinked. "I wasn't complaining. Exactly. More like warning." The intruders were identified as the Draxion Collective, a rival alien faction known for raiding Union research facilities. Their ships were fast and heavily armed, and their soldiers were trained to exploit every weakness in teleportation systems. The station's defense alarms blared continuously. Security drones activated, and automated turrets hummed to life. Ethan and Lyra sprinted toward Sector 4, navigating the narrow corridors. Lyra attempted to teleport ahead to scout, but as always the bond pulled her back to him. Whoomp! She landed on his back again. Ethan stumbled forward, nearly colliding with a bulkhead. "Stop doing that," he shouted. Her glowing eyes flickered with frustration. "I cannot. The bond. It does not allow me to move independently," Ethan groaned. "Perfect. So I'm a walking scout beacon now." Despite the annoyance, their bond had an unexpected benefit. Every time Lyra landed on him, she could sense danger immediately, her warrior instincts alerting them to hidden threats. As they approached Sector 4, the corridor opened into the main teleportation chamber. Dozens of Draxian soldiers had already infiltrated, moving toward the nodes with surgical precision. Their uniforms were dark, sleek, and intimidating, and their weapons glowed with deadly energy. Lyra's markings flared bright crimson. "Stop. Them human? We cannot let them touch the nodes." Ethan grabbed a nearby control console, activating the chamber's defensive grid. Energy barriers rose, slowing the Draxion advance. But the intruders were not deterred. They split into smaller teams, attacking from multiple directions. Ethan realized they were outnumbered. He looked at Lyra, her stance ready for combat. Despite the constant crashing, she was a force to be reckoned with. "Okay," he muttered. "Guess we're doing this together." The first wave of Draxions approached, firing energy bolts at the barriers. Lyra teleported again to dodge, but the bond pulled her directly to Ethan. Whoomp! She landed on him mid-action, twisting just enough to strike a soldier with her combat staff. Ethan grunted under her weight but held steady, using his hands to push her forward and knock two attackers off balance. I think we're making progress," he panted. Lyra's markings glowed a sharp yellow, signaling alertness. "Do not underestimate them. They are trained killers." As another group of Draxions advanced from the upper catwalks, Ethan hit a switch, activating floor traps that sent electrified grids flaring up. Lyra landed on him again, this time using her momentum to spin and sweep 3 more attackers off their feet. Ethan staggered but began to notice something remarkable. Despite the repeated landings and crashes, they moved as a single unit. Her warrior instincts and his quick reactions combined in ways neither had anticipated. The battle intensified. Draxion reinforcements arrived via teleportation, just as unpredictable as Lyra herself. Each time a new enemy appeared, Lyra's teleportation pulled her to Ethan's location. It became both a curse and a blessing. They were perfectly positioned for defense, but physically, Ethan was exhausted. At one point, a Draxion soldier managed to bypass the barriers and charge at Ethan with a glowing blade. Lyra appeared out of nowhere, whoomp, landing on him and knocking the attacker away. The soldier fell to the ground, stunned and unarmed. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead. "Okay, maybe this isn't so bad after all," he muttered. Lyra's markings shifted from red to a calm green, showing focus rather than anger. "This link, it makes us stronger," she admitted quietly. "I can sense threats through you. You anchor me in ways I never imagined." Ethan looked at her, blinking. "So, the universe isn't just messing with me. It's helping us." Lyra gave a faint nod, her glowing patterns softening. "Perhaps, or it is fate. The bond ensures that we survive." They fought through the main chamber, moving in perfect sync despite the chaos. Every time Lyra landed on him, they learned to adjust their movements. Ethan shielded her from sudden attacks. Lyra provided precision strikes. Together, they became a force the Draxians could not anticipate. By the time the final Draxian soldier attempted to breach the control console, Ethan had already anticipated the move. Lyra teleported, whoomp, landing on him and flipping over the attacker with perfect timing. The soldier crashed against the far wall, unconscious. The chamber fell silent. The remaining Draxians retreated, clearly outmatched. Ethan and Lyra stood among the scattered enemies, breathing heavily. Her markings glowed faintly blue, showing relief. Ethan turned to her, wincing as he rubbed his back. "Well, that was exciting. And by exciting, I mean painful." Lyra's lips curved slightly in the closest thing to a smile Ethan had ever seen from an Aeleri. "You performed admirably, human. Your presence, your timing, it saved many lives today." Ethan shook his head, incredulous. "Saved lives? I got flattened at least a dozen times." Lyra's eyes softened. "Your body, your mind, they anchor me. That is why we survived." Ethan swallowed. "Anchor me, huh? Never thought being a magnet would be so heroic." After the battle, the station commander arrived in the chamber, surveying the aftermath. "Remarkable work," he said. "It seems the human-Aeleri bond is not just an accident, it is a tactical advantage. You two make a formidable team." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Formidable, huh? That sounds like we were lucky." Lyra stepped closer to him. "Luck had little to do with it. You are special, human. You create stability where none should exist. Together we are stronger than the sum of our parts." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. "Special, huh? I suppose I can live with that. Maybe." As the Draxians retreated, the Union scientists began analyzing the battle data. The quantum teleportation logs showed something unexpected. Every time Lyra teleported, the bond with Ethan's neural field amplified her reflexes and precision. Their repeated collisions were no longer accidents. They were symbiotic. Dr. Sella approached Ethan and Lyra. "Your connection is unique. Humans may hold the key to controlling quantum teleportation in ways we never imagined. The galaxy will want to study this carefully." Lyra's eyes flickered with thought. "If the Draxians had known, they might have tried to exploit the bond. We must be cautious." Ethan groaned. "Great. So now the galaxy is watching me too. Just what I wanted. More attention." That night, as the station settled into silence, Ethan and Lyra walked through the observation deck. Stars stretched, infinitely before them, and the quiet hum of the station filled the space between them. Lyra glanced at him. Despite our initial conflicts, today proved something important. The bond, it is not weakness, it is strength. Ethan nodded, slowly staring out at the galaxy. I didn't expect this. I thought it was just annoying, but yeah, I can see that now. Her glowing markings softened into a calm green. We are partners, for better or worse. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. Partners, huh? I guess that works, as long as I survive your landings. Lyra's faint smile returned. I will try not to hurt you. But you anchor me, human. Remember that. Ethan chuckled quietly. Don't worry. I think I'll survive. Somehow. And for the first time, both of them realized that their strange, accidental bond was no longer just a problem. It was the beginning of something far greater, a connection that might change the course of their lives and perhaps the galaxy. The orbital research platform Helios had regained a fragile calm after the Draxian attack. Lights flickered softly along the corridors, and the low hum of the station filled the silence. For Ethan Cole, that calm was almost unnerving. The strange bond he shared with Lyra had saved countless lives, but it also reminded him of just how fragile that safety really was. Lyra stood beside him at the observation deck, her glowing markings pulsing gently in the dim light. The stars outside reflected. In her sharp eyes, the Draxians will return, she said quietly. They will not forget today. Ethan leaned against the railing, rubbing his ribs. Yeah, I figured that. I mean, who attacks a station once and calls it a day? Lyra's lips curved faintly, though it wasn't a smile. They underestimated us. They may not underestimate us again. The next morning, alarms sounded across the station. Red warning lights flashed and a low siren pulsed through the corridors. This time the threat was closer, inside the station itself. Ethan groaned as Lyra appeared beside him. Whoomp! She landed directly on his back, sending him stumbling forward. Again? He muttered, trying to stay upright. Do not complain, human, she said, her markings flashing a sharp red. We have no time for weakness. They are inside the station. Ethan took a deep breath. Right. No time for complaining. Got it. They moved quickly through the corridors toward the main teleportation chamber. The Draxians had returned in force, more organized and more dangerous than before. Automated turrets blazed to life as the intruders split into coordinated teams. Lyra attempted to teleport ahead to scout, but once again the bond pulled her directly to Ethan. Whoomp! She landed on him mid-stride. Ethan groaned, but he had learned to adjust. Together they moved, as one, dodging laser fire and knocking aside attackers. This bond of ours, Ethan panted as he helped her spin away from a charging soldier. It's weirdly useful and painful. Lyra's markings shifted to a calm green. Useful indeed. We survived because of it. The battle reached the teleportation chamber, where the Draxians attempted to seize control of the nodes. Ethan realized that if they succeeded, the station's teleportation system could be hacked, potentially sending personnel to dangerous or unknown locations. Ethan, Lyra said urgently, we cannot let them touch the nodes. You must stay focused. Ethan nodded, pressing a series of buttons to activate the chamber's energy shields. Sparks flew as the shields powered up, blocking the intruders' advance. But the Draxians were skilled. They split into smaller groups, trying to bypass the defenses from multiple directions. Lyra teleported again to intercept them, but once more, the bond pulled her straight to him. Whoomp! She landed perfectly on his back, her weight surprisingly balanced as she swung her combat staff to knock down 3 attackers in a single motion. Ethan stumbled but managed to brace her. You're really starting to make me feel like a hero, he muttered. Her glowing markings softened, shifting to a calm blue. You anchor me, human. That is your strength. Despite the chaos, their bond showed an unexpected advantage. Every time Lyra teleported onto Ethan, She could sense attacks before they happened, almost as if his nervous energy and awareness were feeding her reflexes. Together, they moved faster than any ordinary team could, turning the Draxian assault into a series of failures for the invaders. At one point, a Draxian soldier managed to bypass the shields and charge at Ethan with a plasma blade. Lyra teleported, whoomp, landing on him and flipping over the attacker with perfect timing. The soldier fell to the ground, stunned and disarmed. Ethan panted heavily. Okay, maybe this bond isn't so bad after all. Lyra's eyes flickered softly. It is not. We are stronger together than either of us alone. The Draxians retreated temporarily, regrouping to prepare for another wave. Ethan and Lyra used the brief pause to recover. Ethan rubbed his ribs, still sore from repeated landings. You know, he said, trying to catch his breath. I've never had a job where I got flattened by a coworker this many times in a day. Lyra's lips curved faintly. You will grow accustomed to it, and you will survive. Ethan chuckled despite the pain. I guess survival is all I've got left at this point. Dr. Sela arrived in the chamber, her violet markings glowing softly. Your bond is extraordinary, she said. I have never seen anything like it. Your neural connection enhances her reflexes and stability. Together you form a unique quantum pair. Lyra looked at Ethan, her gaze sharp. Quantum pair, an advantage but dangerous if exploited. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Dangerous, huh? Like being used as a human landing pad in battle. Lyra's faint smile returned. Exactly, but now you understand. We are not just crashing into each other by accident. This bond, it is deliberate in its effects, even if we did not choose. The Draxians launched their second wave. This time they targeted the observation decks, hoping to disrupt communications. Ethan and Lyra moved quickly, navigating the corridors with practiced precision. Each time she teleported, the bond ensured she arrived exactly where she needed to be, on Ethan. Whoomp. She landed on his back as a laser beam cut across the corridor. Ethan barely moved out of the way in time. You really are a pain in the ribs, he muttered. And you are useful, she replied simply, swinging her staff to knock down the next intruder. Together, they moved as a single unit, their actions perfectly synchronized. The Draxians were skilled, but they could not anticipate the strange rhythm of a human and a Lari fighting as one. During a brief lull, Ethan and Lyra found cover behind a bulkhead. Ethan's chest heaved with exertion. I don't know how we're doing this, he said. Every time you land on me, I feel like I'm going to collapse. Lyra crouched beside him, her markings a calm green. Your body, your mind, they stabilize me. Without you, I could not control my teleportation so precisely. You anchor me, human, that is why we survive. Ethan blinked, taken aback. Anchor me, huh? That sounds kind of important, I guess. Lyra's eyes softened slightly. More than important. Vital. You and I are linked. The bond is no longer a mere accident. It is a strength. The Draxians pressed the attack again, this time attempting to breach the station's power core. Ethan realized the consequences if they succeeded. The station would be crippled and teleportation technology could be stolen. Lyra teleported forward to intercept, but once more, the bond pulled her to Ethan. Whoomp. She landed on him mid-action, twisting and striking down two attackers with precise blows. Ethan staggered but adapted, using her momentum to push forward and block another soldier. Together, they became a whirlwind of motion, combining human ingenuity with Ilari combat skill. The Draxians, confused and frustrated, began to retreat again. Ethan and Lyra stood in the corridor, breathing heavily, surrounded by scattered intruders. When the alarms finally ceased, Ethan collapsed against the wall. I think we survived, he said. Lyra stood beside him, her markings glowing a soft blue. We did, but the bond will be tested again and again. You must accept it, human. It is no longer something you can ignore. Ethan rubbed his ribs. Accept it? I've accepted it in the sense that I survive each landing, but it's still awkward. Lyra's faint smile returned. Awkward, yes, but necessary. Without you, I would be uncontrolled. And together, we are unstoppable. Ethan chuckled. Unstoppable, huh? That's one way to put it. That night, Ethan lay in his bunk, reflecting on the day's events. The bond he shared with Lyra was strange, inconvenient, and occasionally painful, but it had saved countless lives. And more than that, it had changed him. He felt connected, not just to Lyra, but to something larger. Lyra, in her quarters, stared at the stars. Her people valued independence and self-reliance above all else, yet she could not deny the sense of security Ethan's presence provided. The bond that had frustrated her so much was now something she could not imagine losing. The universe had tied them together whether they wanted it or not. And for the first time, both of them realized that their bond was not just about survival, it was about trust, teamwork, and an unexpected form of friendship. The orbital research platform. Helios drifted silently above the gas giant Eridon, its metal hull gleaming under the pale starlight. After the previous Draxian attacks, the station's corridors were filled with a tense energy. Scientists and soldiers moved quickly, performing repairs, recalibrating systems, and preparing for what everyone knew would come next. Ethan Cole stood in the observation deck, staring out at the swirling clouds of the gas giant below. He rubbed his ribs again, still sore from the repeated landings of Lyra during the last attack. Ribs intact? Lyra appeared beside him, materializing with her usual whoomp, right on his back. Ethan groaned, but this time he steadied himself quickly. Yes, barely, he muttered. Lyra's markings pulsed softly, a calm blue this time. Good. You will need your strength. The Draxians are returning, and this time they are bringing reinforcements. Ethan shook his head. Reinforcements? Why can't they just take a vacation or something? Anywhere but here? Lyra's lips curved faintly. Because they underestimate the bond we share. They do not understand that humans can anchor Elari in ways no technology can match. Ethan blinked. Anchor, right. That's me. Humanity's secret superpower, being a walking teleport magnet. The alarm sounded soon after. Red lights flashed across the station as a fleet of Draxian ships entered orbit. Their ships were faster and more heavily armed than before, and Ethan knew the attack this time would be far more dangerous. Ready, human? Lyra asked, landing carefully beside him. Whoomp. She had learned to control her teleport, minimizing impact on him, though the bond still pulled her to him every time. Ethan nodded, gripping the console. Ready as I'll ever be. Let's survive round 3. The station's corridors became a battleground. Automated turrets fired at the incoming Draxions as they infiltrated through airlocks and teleportation nodes. Ethan and Lyra moved through the station like a whirlwind. Each time Lyra teleported, the bond guided her precisely to him, allowing them to anticipate attacks and counter them with perfect timing. Whump! She landed on his back mid-turn, swinging her combat staff to knock a Draxian soldier off balance. Ethan braced, shoving her forward while ducking under a blast of energy. You know, he panted, I think we're actually getting better at this. Lyra's markings glowed a sharp yellow. We must. The Draxians are skilled and relentless. They will not stop until they have destroyed the station or captured the teleportation nodes. Ethan grimaced. Yeah, that's a problem. The Draxians managed to breach the main teleportation chamber. Their leader, a tall, armored alien, with glowing red eyes, strode forward, waving a staff that hummed with energy. Lyra's markings shifted to bright crimson. We cannot let him reach the nodes. You must stay close, human. Ethan swallowed, adjusting his stance. I stay close. Got it. Try not to land on me this time, will you? Lyra gave a faint smile. No promises. The battle in the chamber was intense. Draxian soldiers moved from multiple directions using coordinated attacks to overwhelm the station defenses. Ethan and Lyra adapted instinctively. Every time she teleported, the bond allowed her to anticipate danger through his awareness. Together, they moved faster and more precisely than anyone else in the chamber. Lyra landed again on him, this time using the momentum to spin and knock the Draxion leader off balance. Ethan helped push the attacker into a console, stunning him temporarily. "You really are strong, human," Lyra admitted as she regained her footing. "Your presence amplifies my abilities beyond normal limits," Ethan panted. "Yeah. Well, your landings amplify my pain beyond normal limits." Despite the chaos, Ethan noticed something remarkable. Their bond was no longer just a quirk of teleportation. It was a strength that gave them an edge over their enemies. Every crash, every landing, every adjustment brought them closer to perfect coordination. "Lyra," he said between dodges and blocks, "I think we actually make a pretty good team. Painful but good." Lyra's markings glowed soft green. "Indeed. The bond is more than just a connection. It is strategy, reflex, and precision. Together, we are unstoppable." The Draxians regrouped for a final assault. This time they aimed directly for the station's power core. Ethan realized that if the attackers succeeded, the entire station, and its teleportation technology, could be lost. "Ethan, we must move quickly," Lyra said, landing again on him with precise timing. Her weight pushed him forward, but he was prepared. Every second counts. Together they sprinted through the corridors, dodging blasts, knocking attackers aside, and using the bond to anticipate danger. The Draxians were skilled, but they could not predict the strange rhythm of a human and Aelari working as one. When they reached the power core, they found the Draxian leader attempting to hack into the system. Lyra teleported directly onto Ethan, using her staff to disarm him while Ethan activated the emergency lockdown. The doors slammed shut, trapping the intruders inside and cutting off their access to the station's systems. Breathing heavily, Ethan turned to Lyra. I think we did it. We actually stopped them." Lyra's markings glowed a calm blue. "Yes, but this bond, it will continue to be tested. We must always be ready." Ethan rubbed his ribs, still sore from repeated landings. "Yeah, but I think I'm starting to get used to it." Somehow, after the battle, the station commander addressed the crew. "Remarkable work, everyone, but especially Ethan Cole and Lyra of the Aelari. Your bond, your coordination, saved this station and prevented the Draxians from stealing critical technology. Humans have proven their value in ways we could not have imagined." Ethan blinked in surprise. "Humans? Valuable? Really?" Lyra stepped beside him, her markings glowing softly. "Indeed. Your species possesses a unique ability to anchor and stabilize teleportation fields. This bond is unprecedented. You are not just a human. You are a key to the galaxy's defense." Ethan scratched his head, feeling a mix of pride and embarrassment. "A key to the galaxy, nah? That's a big job for a guy who gets flattened a lot." Lyra's lips curved slightly in a rare smile. "Even a landing pad can be a hero, human." In the following weeks, the Helios continued repairs, but the reputation of humans had grown. Scientists studied the bond between Ethan and Lyra, learning how human neural patterns could enhance Aelari teleportation. The Galactic Union recognized the human species as not just newcomers, but as a crucial part of interstellar defense. Lyra and Ethan continued their training and tests, refining the bond and learning new strategies. Every teleport, every landing, every adjustment became a part of their teamwork. The bond, once awkward and inconvenient, was now their greatest strength. One evening, Ethan and Lyra stood at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The battles had ended for now, but the galaxy remained unpredictable and dangerous. "You know," Ethan said, glancing at her, "I never thought being crushed repeatedly would lead to this. To being useful, I mean." Lyra's markings glowed, softly. The bond was never just a coincidence. The universe, or fate, has tied us together. We are stronger because of it. And humanity, your species, has potential beyond what anyone realized. Ethan nodded slowly, a sense of purpose filling him. I think I understand now. It's not just about surviving. It's about helping, protecting, making a difference. Lyra's gaze softened. Yes, and together, we will face whatever comes next. The bond is our strength, human. Remember that. Ethan smiled faintly. I will. Even if it means getting flattened a few more times. Lyra's lips curved in a small but genuine smile. Then we are ready. The galaxy will learn that humans are not to be underestimated. Ethan took a deep breath, looking out at the infinite stars. Somewhere out there, dangers awaited, challenges that no one could foresee. But he no longer felt helpless. With Lyra and the bond between them, he knew they could face anything. The human and the Alari warrior had become more than allies. They were a team, a symbol of cooperation between species, and proof that even the most unexpected connections could shape the future of the galaxy. And every time she teleported, landing right on top of him, Ethan no longer groaned in frustration. He simply braced himself and smiled because he knew that together they were unstoppable.